Go. Alright guys, today we're going to talk about these two SCX24 C10s. One of them is my buddy's, which would be this green one right here. And this one would be mine right here, which is the gunmetal gray one. John Boy, you want to take the floor?
Alright, well, my whole idea was a budget build, and that spiraled extremely out of control. So, as you can see here, I started off with some brass up front, got the knuckles, you know, and then I went with some aluminum diff covers, and actually one of my first things were the rims. So I found these bad boys for about $10, you know, team cheap.
Team cheap.
And then, since I had red rims, I said, why not just match everything else in red? So then I got the diff covers, we got the steering link, got the servo horn. Then I went with the links underneath. We also got the hot racing motor heatsink. And then I did some brass frame weights.
Does that heatsink actually work for you?
Oh, it actually works great. So, if you're just getting into these things, they're awesome trucks. I mean, the list of parts that you could hop these things up is unfathomable. I mean, carbon fiber frame rails, shocks, high links. It's just endless. The only thing that's going to stop you is how big your bank account is.
Pretty much.
I mean, I got a budget build, and my budget build, just in parts, is double the cost of what the car is. But tonight, these are some of the things that, well, I want to express some things that, if you're getting into it, where you want to spend your money and focus a little more, instead of going a little crazy. I mean, you can go crazy if that's what you want, but the good idea is weight. And this guy has some weight. But mine, I mean, I got the brass. I got the brass knuckles, like I said. The frame weights, they do help. It's a little high center of gravity. I also did the wide 4+4 front and rear. That helps a lot with side heeling. If you're going to do a lot of side heeling, that is one thing you want to focus on. Also, back to the heatsink. Just getting into these things, they run great. But you start putting weight like this big boy over here, you're going to burn up the motor. These heat sinks, they help out a lot. $10 is going to save you $10, $20, $30, depending on how many times you're going to replace a motor.
Yeah.
Plus, you got to tear this bad boy down. It's not a whole lot of work, but trust me, when you just want to go out and crawl, you don't want to be tearing into these things. Other little upgrade, also got me upgraded servo. This is the digital E-Max. Great little servo. Only thing I don't like is the servo horn is hard to find. It's an odd 23 tooth. You can find them out there. It's just very hard. Also, they don't tell you that it's a 23 tooth. So keep that in mind. Quick free mods to save some bucks. What I did, you can see my suspension's all the way down, and that's because the place that we go is pretty gnarly. It's about a 53, 54 degree incline. Having our suspension down like this, same with this guy, he has a lot more travel. That allows you to drop into holes. And trust me, when you're climbing 50 plus degrees, you do not want a truck that's lifted way in the air. It's going to unload, you're going to flip down that hill.
Exactly.
All right. So what I did here was I moved my shock mounts from the stock locations down to the frame rails. So all you do is you pull your stock screws out, swap the links with the balls, and they pop right into place.
Free mod.
Free. Team Cheap here. Also, this little frame, or the body mounts, I just popped them up. There's extra holes. I popped them up. That gave me clearance to clearance my wheels.
Also, your big battery, too.
Yes. Upgrading the battery. I got a 900 mAh. It's a lot fatter than the stock guy. It does rub in here, but doing that helps lift that body up and give you some more clearance. Over to this guy. I mean, he's a heavy hitter.
Yes, he's a beaut.
So you want to get into it, Bob? Tell him what you got.
Yeah, I guess I should. Alright, so I guess we're going to start off. You can see already it's got carbon fiber frame rails. That was just trying to reduce a lot of the weight that's on top, like he said earlier.
Battery's done. Yeah, we got an addiction, you know. We got drift cars. We got drag cars. We got another drifter over here. RCing is an addiction, but it's a good addiction. We're back over here to the... hold on. What we got going on here?
Oh, you just press close.
Close.
Yeah, it's just still be going, yeah. Yeah, so
carbon fiber frame rails.
Carbon fiber rails. We got brass frame weights right here. I did purchase a aluminum little center mount right here, but I ended up not using it on this build, so I kept this plastic for a little bit of flex because these links are solid. So if these links kind of flex out a little bit, I left this plastic because I kind of wanted this just to have a little give. Same with the frame too. The frame, it is rigid, but it does give a little, and I think that helps out. I did go with the Fury Tech brushless system, and if you do go with this, it is convenient to get the little Bluetooth module right here. You know, it's an option, so definitely get that.
So what does that do?
Whether you can have an Apple iPhone or you can have a Droid, and you can basically connect into your motor, adjust it, tune it, do your punch settings, your throttle settings, your, you know, this, that, and the other. You can adjust a lot of things. You can look at your temperature. You can adjust your throttle curve. It's actually pretty good because if something goes out of whack, say like you connect it for the first time and you push your gas to go forward and it goes backwards, you open up the app and you can just go bloop, and slide it over and flip it.
So you change rotation inside app? Okay.
Yeah. So you can rotate it back and have it, you know, running, you know, because that's what happened with this one. And I was glad that I got this little Bluetooth thing.
Yeah, because I don't know if you noticed, but the wiring is in that motor. So normally on, brushless, you can just swap two of the legs and get the rotation backward. But with this one, you can't.
Yeah.
That app just made it just so much more convenient, correct?
Yeah. Otherwise, you'd have to actually pull two of these wires out of the connection right here and swap them to get your different rotation.
Yeah.
So that's not really something I wanted to play with, and I'm glad that this had that feature. As far as the servo, I'm doing an Emax. It's an this is the Eco one, aftermarket, with the steel gears inside. I kind of went with the heavier steering rack and did a whole brass steering rack. This is coming out of a guy out in Oregon. He's like the only guy that has these, and he actually just came out with the Gladiator high clearance links, and I think he's the only one that has them that are in brass, and you can find those on eBay, and I believe they're about $79 around there. They're kind of expensive, but if you want weight down low, that's the guy to go to. I did brass diff covers, a whole aluminum axle assembly, brass knuckles, kept them black instead of gold. I did axle weights on top of wheel weights, and I did, plus five axle extensions, and then plus five, and you can see back here, solid axle assembly, brass diff cover, brass axle weight, brass wheel weight, aluminum rims. They do come with aluminum inserts, and that's the little insert for pinching for the bead lock. I would like to get some brass ones of those. That add a little bit more weight to the corners. Instead of keeping it stock, the suspension stock in the rear, I kind of wanted to mess around with it and see what I can do with long travel. So instead of mounting them up here or even here, I drilled my own holes down here and went with the Hot Racing little single barrel long travel shocks. And that allows my truck to sit down like that and still run without rubbing. While you're on a hill and you're going over uneven terrain, it rubs a little bit, so I still have to do some trimming. But for as it is with bigger tires I just put on yesterday, it's doing pretty good. It's not rubbing that bad, so I think I'll hold off for now. What else do I have in here? Oh, this little aluminum little link in here. That I kind of felt I didn't want plastic anymore, so I did go aluminum with that. Took a little bit of flex out of that rear end, but as you can see, if you actually hold it, you push up on one of the ends, that's the flex you can get out of it. It is a little overboard, and in certain applications it doesn't work as you want it to, but for hill climbing and stuff, and Johnny here was saying, as it's climbing, it'll suck up like this as it's climbing, and as you come up on a hole, it'll drop down in the hole and just suck back up and keep climbing. So that was something that I found works with these long travel suspension or these long travel shocks, is drilling your own holes down here. And then I went with the low center of gravity ESC battery swap, and then I got the Fury Tech kit and my LCG kit. I couldn't do the battery up here anymore because you see the outrunner is pretty much in there, so I had to cut a little bit out, trim it out, and relocated my battery back here. Didn't really know where to put this, the receiver, so just kind of did a little Velcro on the battery, Velcro on the part of the motor that doesn't spin, and then lined it with Velcro on the bottom, and that stays put. And when you close it, that clears right up into the cab. I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, it's right up in there, so that worked out pretty good. Both Johnny and I did a front bumper delete kit.
Oh yeah, another free mod.
Yeah.
Approach angle is a big thing. And that's why I took mine off. He took his off. It just helps with that approach angle.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you're just getting into these, they're a blast. Another thing I just thought of, this is a real cheap mod that I did. If you're going to be going through batteries,
Definitely.
the Velcro mod. A little Velcro on your battery, Velcro on your battery holder. Makes your battery swaps a matter of seconds.
Yeah.
As you can see, the stock strap, it works. You just got to fumble with it.
Yeah, and mine's a little more complicated. I mean, you wouldn't necessarily buy one of these and then say, oh, hey, I'm gonna jump right in and spend an extra, $130 and get a whole brushless setup and start chopping things and stuff when you're fresh into it. How long did it take? Probably about like a month and a half before we just knew these things.
Yeah, I would say from when we got them playing around stock, it was okay. Well, we need some more weight up front because I don't know. Well, if you watch his other videos, Carnegie Hill or Carnage Hill, which it should be named, is brutal. You need that weight. You need it up front. You need to, you can see on his little bit of scratches. I have
We
a
both have
lot of body damage, cracked body,
holes. We both have holes.
yeah, torn up holes. But that's what these are for. They're meant to go out there.
They don't break either,
Yeah.
Even stock, they don't really break. I mean, you really have to you really have to flip it down something that's gonna make it flip down for a long time to get something to break, because plastic does give. And when you start getting into different mods and adding metal and stuff, stuff doesn't quite give anymore. So there's stock, there's I got a little bit to get me to what I want to do, and then there's just absolutely just overboard, which is just what we did. But
Yeah. But for those just getting into these, they're a blast. You're going to have a blast. Drive them for a while. Get a feel for what you want to do. I mean, we built these for an insane hill.
yeah,
Like I said, it's 50 plus degrees of angle. So the way we built them was a lot of weight up front. Trying to get the weight from tipping back, low center of gravity, shocks down low.
and there's videos of those climbs where it was mine and yours, and then the C10. There's also a blue Gladiator video, brand new Gladiator. All I did was some diff covers and some wheel weights, and I think I threw I did an aluminum steering rack on it, and removed the canopy on the back. That was it. Left the accessories, everything, and that Gladiator is badass. It does everything you want it to do, even with oversized tires on it.
Yeah, so, I mean, overall, the other brands, Axial SCX24 is the best. It's
Hands down.
like I said, endless possibilities of parts. Endless people out there that just supply parts for these things. You can build them however you want, to your liking. It's it's like getting an ice cream cone. You just have it your way.
Pretty much, dude. All the colors you can get and shit.
Yeah. So
You can go with whatever color. Like, they've got red, they've got blue, they've got
purple.
green. GPM, whatever. GPM, I think, just came out with a whole line of links that are like silver, light blue, like lime green, orange. You can
Titanium.
find them. Yeah, titanium. You can find them whatever you want, whatever color scheme you want to go with. Everything's out there, and it's pretty cheap. If just done here and there. You definitely will feel it though if you just dump all.
Yeah, if you go in like what he did and just
do 4 of them, 3 of them.
Ordered everything under the sun, yeah, it does get expensive. I was trying to budget myself and spend $20 to $30 a week, or which, I mean, could be a lot for some people. But if you think about it, you do get a lot, because the brass knuckles, they're like $9. My steering links were like $9. So that's, your front end right there. If you break it down that way, over a span of a month or two, you could build these things up pretty heavily. I would recommend play with them, get them out, enjoy it, change your shock position. You don't need to spend money right away. These things are very capable out of the box.
Definitely. Even the tires they come with.
Yes, the stock tires on these, actually, on the C10s, I would say are the best tires. Those BFGs.
Yeah.
They are narrower than others that come on these, the Deadbolt and the Jeep. But they just hook up. They grip.
They do.
They form. There's just something about that compound that just really works.
There's no foam in them too.
Yeah.
There's no foam in those stocks.
But, yeah, I mean, get out there. Get yourself one if you haven't already. These things are hot. They're flying off the shelves.
They really are. And honestly, like, if you don't like the look of your tire and you're like, oh, you find something online that you like or that's, okay, the best thing to look for is the softest tire that you can find.
Yeah, I mean, mine, I went for compound, and I saw a guy that said these are the softest things out there off the shelf. No need for the WD-40 trick. I don't know if any of you know that. You could take your stock tires, throw some WD-40 on them. It softens them up. But these, I mean, they're super soft. They grip. That area that we go to, Carnegie Hill, it's concrete. It doesn't look steep on the videos. But
it really doesn't.
If you're standing next to it, it's hard to climb for us. I mean, it puts a wear on your knees, on your ankles, but it's fun.
If you're walking up trying to film it while you're one-handed driving, it sucks.
Yeah,
it's hard, man. It's hard not to slip down that hill.
Yeah, luckily we haven't fallen yet. Knock on wood.
Yeah.
Because that ain't gonna feel too good. But yeah, get out there, get one. They're all awesome running vehicles. I mean, the Deadbolt, the Jeep, the Gladiator. By far is my favorite.
Let's talk about while we're here. Let's talk about the difference between the wheelbase and the climbing abilities. First, the CRC white Jeep, the yellow JLU Jeep, versus the Gladiator wheelbase and the Deadbolt wheelbase. The Deadbolt wheelbase is longer than the C10, and
well, it's not necessarily longer. It's the way the links are. So if you put our trucks up next to a Deadbolt or well, you can't even see it anymore, but the Betty, the links in the rear are farther back. Oh, my bad, I'm blocking the view. They're farther back, and then the front links are actually a little bit shorter. So it transitions the weight further back, so it doesn't have, when you're in that steep incline, the tendency to want to tip. So that's one reason why we went so heavily modified. I mean, It's just the short wheelbase.
All the weight up front, if you plan on climbing some steep stuff, all this weight up front is good. You don't have to go this hard, but you do want weight, and it is good to get weight as low as possible. So anything in your wheels or your axle, these are real cheap. These are like $12. eBay, Amazon. I think Amazon cheaper. These are real cheap. $10 max for these. Wheels, you can find them a wheel tire combo. And Endura makes some pretty good ones. They actually came. These are Endura rims, and they came with these tires, which are super super soft compared to these new tires I got. But I don't know what I'm gonna do to get these softer, but I'm gonna have to do something.
Yeah, hopefully they break in over time. It also, your beads are tight, so they're not actually deflecting the air out. So.
Yeah, they're pretty much full of air.
Yeah. But also, like we were talking about the other chassis, the Gladiator is by far the biggest of the SCX24s lengthwise.
Yeah.
It's longer in the rear. The rear links are super long. I want to say the front links, they look almost as long as our rear links.
Oh, yeah.
Almost, it's just... Yeah. But it makes it a super capable rig. Like he was saying, he had barely any modification on that blue one, and it climbed that hill no problem.
The best modification, and I understand, people buy it for, maybe the look of it, and you like that canopy top. That canopy top, although light in your hand, up high on the back of your truck, when you're trying to climb something or get over an obstacle, all that weight is transitioning back and just pulling your rig back to flip. And that's why I took my canopy top off the Gladiator. And there's videos on this channel of that Gladiator climbing the hill that we go and climb, the Carnegie Hill. You can check those out. And I even show it to you, before I start the video, underneath, the mods. It's all plastic. The only thing I want to mention is right off the get, I don't really like the motors that come stock in these trucks. So right off the get, you should invest in one of these. You just want to keep this motor as cool as possible, make it last as long. Like Johnny said, you don't want to keep going through motors. So a heat sink, that's definitely a good upgrade. I had that on this one, and I transferred it to the Gladiator because I went with the Fury Tech, and I can watch temps from the app, so it doesn't really matter. But on the Gladiator, I can show you on the bottom, barely any mods, really nothing, like $25 and just a heatsink. That's it. You know, stock battery. I'm sure it would still go with, you know, a 900 milliamp battery, you know, but longer links made it way more capable. You could stretch these if you wanted. You know, you could do like a Betty body on it and stretch your links, however you need to do it, whatever links you need to buy. What was that little thing I made? Little Warthog?
Oh yeah, the Warthog.
Yeah, the Warthog is a 3D printed chassis that basically was made to accept like 2mm hardware, and then I reduced it down to SCX size hardware. I think the holes were like 1.2 or 1.3 mil if anybody else wants to do it. But you take the rear links of a C10 or a Jeep and you put them in the front of this little 3D printed frame, and then you take whatever you want. You could do the rear of a C10 or Jeep, or you could do the rear of a deadbolt and do the links, and that gives you a super long travel little cheater rig. And nobody wants to wheel with you if you have one. Believe me, this guy didn't want to wheel with me.
Yeah, it was too capable. I mean, it doesn't make it a technical course anymore. You're able to crawl the hill in reverse. That's how capable the Warthogs are.
Yeah.
But, you know, in the end, they're awesome. I mean, this right here, I bought it for myself on Christmas, you know, just figuring I'll put it around the house. And then I showed this guy, and then he got this. And then we showed another friend, and he got one. And then my brother got one.
Yeah.
So you just
bought my son one.
it once you get one, it spreads like wildfire. It becomes
This is
addicting,
so cool.
and you're gonna get your friends into it, and then it just makes a hobby more fun when you have all your friends and buddies out there wheeling with you.
And you know, if you're doing mods, or you know, you're taking stuff apart, you're putting it back together, you know, this goes here, blah blah blah, you know, this length screw goes in these center holes versus the length screw that goes in the holes behind this. You know, if you're sitting down and you're doing this with your little one or your kid, you know, this is actually teaching them, you know, mechanics and stuff and how to use their hands, you know, versus what's taught in schools these days. You know, you can't teach them all book work. They've got to use their hands. You know, that's like,
fine motor skills. So he brings up a good point, because my actual links, my daughter put on.
yeah.
My 12-year-old daughter did the rubber bushings, all the screws, every mount she did herself. And it's just, like I said, it's a way to get other people into it. Once you have fun, they see you having fun, they want to have fun, they get into it, and it just grows from there. And I mean, we have wheeling sessions with his nephew, my daughter, and it's a whole lot of fun. I mean, get into it. This was a quick overview of how to go overboard on some builds. Maybe we'll get back on another one and actually break it down to what parts we have, what we would recommend.
Parts lists.
A little closer. This is just a quick little thrown together video. But just want to show you, get out there, have fun. Don't need to go overboard.
You don't.
To have fun.
I mean, at most, like if you want to, you know, get out there and stuff, at most, get yourself some diff covers and some knuckles. You know, wheel weights maybe.
It all depends on what you're crawling.
Yeah. I just kind of want to say get everything. But
Well, I mean, that's.
Yeah. Well, yeah. For people getting into it, you know, they're capable as is out of the box. But when you start to notice, you know, you're like setting stuff up in your house, and you're kind of like, I wish I could do that. You know, how does it do that? Weight down low. That's how you can climb steeper and steeper and steeper.
Yep. All right, well, you want to end this video here, Bob?
Sure. All right, guys. So these are our little SCX24s. little C10s. Glad you guys watched this video, watched us, rant about our parts and going overboard, and so yeah, get yourself one of these. They're about 130 bucks. Have fun around the house, in the backyard, whatever. All right, guys, later.